Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking Main Street and the small business lenders to help it grow and keep employment going and keep our economy running. And you guys all do great work. Katie, it's you and I today. Lance is calling in sick, something about a fever. I don't know.
Well, it's probably best anyway. We've got a lot of information, and I think we'll be just fine without him.
No, he did the webinar yesterday, and I could tell he was struggling. So, all right, let's get to it. We thank you all for your support. Please send us your questions, anything you want to talk about, and let's get to the poll question. Number one, SBA 7A lending activity year over year, approved dollars in fiscal year 21 is, and we're talking what, October 1st through, what's your cutoff, Katie?
I think they're just doing the fiscal year, so... actually, no, this is year to date. So this is clear up until, I believe, yesterday.
Wow. So pretty up to, yeah, SBA is pretty good about keeping track of those stats. How'd they do, Katie?
Yeah, so the people who said up would be correct. It's about 6.5% up at about $10.7 billion. But I would accept remains the same too, since it's only 6.5% down. I think maybe being confused a little bit with the number of loans are down about 20% this year, and they've been going down ever since the pandemic. But I believe that's mostly due to PPP and other pandemic related funds and things like that. After that's over, it'll probably go back to normal. Yeah, good analysis. By the way, we talked about the budget yesterday. We do not know what the authority is. What happens is Congress sets a maximum ceiling. The administrator can unilaterally increase that by 10%. And in the past, there's been a zero subsidy where the lender's servicing fees, the borrower fees pay for all losses. We are out of that mode. We do not yet know exactly what those numbers are. They weren't disclosed or we can't find them, but we will certainly follow up on that. As Katie said, yeah, we were a little tricky. We put approved dollars versus number of loans. Number two, what about 504? Well, I think everybody kind of knew this answer. It is up. It's about 17% at $3.6 billion. And it's really been going up. Really, that pandemic hit and it shot up, and it's still up really high right now. So it's a good program right now, and there's a lot of opportunities. We're still waiting on some more 504 refinancing guidelines, but it's a great program right now. Yeah, with low interest rates, there's an appetite for this type of financing to the lenders. We are not in a capital crunch. Lenders want to make loans. They want to make these first lien position loans. And once we get the details on 504 debt refi, this is going to explode. So, but we haven't got that yet. Number three, are you addressing PPP loan forgiveness in your 7A and 504 cash flow analysis? Yesterday we talked and we said, hey, the initial PPP loan forgiveness starts kicking in 16 months. So that puts us for the first early adapters who got loans, in March or April. That puts us in August timeframe. And we don't yet know if these are loans or grants. And it's nice to see that 77% of you say, yes, we are dealing with that. And that's also mandated by SBA, correct, Katie? Yeah, the SBA just extended that, actually. COVID underwriting guidance has been extended to the end of the year. So it's one of those things you definitely should be addressing. And even if there wasn't a mandate, I think it's important to be looking at how that's affecting the business. And it really tells you whether they've got a good cash flow, credit worthiness, things like that. That's all very important when you're lending. Well, I want to know also if the entrepreneur, if the borrower understands the forgiveness process. Are they keeping good track of records? Are they understand the dollar amounts? So that's a good question.
to address. I think there's certainly, remember, it just says we have to address it. I don't have too much of an issue if you say, hey, our borrower is absolutely convinced. We've talked to the CPA that they will get the forgiveness when they apply for everything. I would present the two cash flow analysis, but I would say we're going to base a loan decision that they are going to get full forgiveness because everyone, and I've checked the records as the underwriter, I think they're going to get it too. Again, the theme is SBA wants the lender to address these issues. They don't want you to ignore them. Finally, were you a lender during the Great Recession? And Katie, we like to ask this question to get a feel for our audience and how many are new to lending crisis mode.
Yeah, and it is.
Go ahead, Katie.
I do think even if we have a large number of people who say yes, I'm not sure. Yeah, we do. It is a little bit different this time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a totally different situation, and it's definitely going to have a different effect on the economy than it did back in 2008.
One of the criticisms of lenders after the recession is they forgot all the lessons that were learned. So for you 20%, the one constant change is there will be change, and we're assuming that you're new to the industry. And as you go through your career, there will be additional crises that will affect you economic-wise in terms of the economy. So always keep an eye out on macro pictures. But 1 in 5, that's a pretty decent turnover. Okay, tell us about stats. SBA does a great job on this. Katie, this is from the information from the call yesterday. First of all, let me address how was the call? Just give me a general tone of what happened on that.
Yeah, so it was primarily informational, and most of the things discussed were things that we've talked about on the show. So if you missed it yesterday, I'm sure you can keep up if you're watching our show or if you're reading our articles and things like that. I will add in some commentary as we go through these slides, and on the information. I've summarized pretty much the entire call yesterday, but it is pretty easy to follow on all these things, and I believe most people probably know just about most of the information.
Good.
So this particular slide here is just showing the difference in year over year lending for both 7A and 504, and we discussed this earlier, but it's great to see the graph here. What's interesting is you've got that 20% decrease in number of loans for 7A, but that 6.5% increase in approved dollars, which tells me that they're doing much larger loans this year than in previous years. 504, it's more what you would expect. The number of loans has increased and the approved dollars has also increased, but not as much. So that would tell me that those loans are maybe a little bit smaller than in previous years. But it's still, 504 is a very strong program right now, and it continues to increase. As you can see from 2008 clear to current present day, it's been going up and it's doing quite well.
Well, one of the reasons why also debt refinance is important is SBA, the 504 authority. We haven't even come close to it the last couple of years. And so there is definitely ability to do that. And I think debt refi is going to be huge for the 504 lender, both for the CDC as well as in the first lien position. But 7A also is very attractive, 90% guarantee, no guarantee fees, no lender servicing fee. And I think as we traverse through PPP, interesting times that people will turn their attention to that. What else we got, Katie?
There's our next slide. So one of the first things they addressed, and I know it was a 7A Connect call, but of course they're going to touch on other topics as well. And one of the ones they were discussing was COVID relief updates, primarily with PPP. They were saying that the new PPP originations has been extended through May 31st. As we all know, they're going to, in theory, if there are funds available, continue accepting new applications until 11:59 p.m. Eastern.
Did they address that, Katie? Did they say, hey, we think
No, they did not address how they're going to handle that yet. We don't know if the funds run out, how that's going to be handled.
Did they even
they didn't
suggest
really
that
seem
funds are
too
going to run
concerned
out?
about it, but they haven't addressed it.
I was going to say, did they even suggest funds are going to run out? Did they?
No, they didn't bring that up at all.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Well, I didn't
yeah.
mean to interrupt you. But
No, it's a great question, and I honestly want to know too, because I don't know what they're going to do. Early estimates, at least in Congress, were that it was going to only make it through mid-April, and here we are, mid-April, and there are still funds available, so it is something they're watching, obviously, but we don't know how that's going to be handled. The other things, they've updated the guidance on PPP hold codes. This came from about a week or two ago, updating the lender certification. And that certification just clarified that they're relying on the borrower's documents and the borrower's statements to clear those hold codes. A little bit older information as well. PPP lender processing fees have been updated. Same thing with PPP forms. All of that is just to conform to the more recent legislation. That's all things that we've been aware of for a while. They also clarify organizations, while they are eligible, entities that are private clubs remain ineligible for PPP loans. And they said that new guidance on PPP change of ownership is coming soon. They've had a lot of problems with their system, not accepting things where there's a loan that the borrower has changed ownership. It looks as though it's not eligible because the dates don't match up. They're trying to fix that, and they will give more guidance on that soon. They're also saying that problem is coming up with the applying for two loans, first and second round in the same year. That's been a problem as well, and they're going to get more guidance on that soon as well.
what is the definition of a private club?
I don't know their definition that they're using. I'm sure it's in the code there, but I don't know their definition.
I'm guessing golf clubs or anything that restricts a membership or that. I don't know.
That would be my guess as well.
Yeah. The one, they're also nonprofit. Well, they're private clubs. They're nonprofit, so they're, but they're ineligible. Very good. Talk to me about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, and I know we have John Winnick on Friday to talk about this. What's happening?
Yeah, so they still haven't given a date for release yet. However, they did give a little bit of an update, funding through the SBA point of sale vendor platform. That's how it's going to work. They're getting that platform set up and ready to go. Something that they said yesterday that I don't believe they've addressed yet is that applicants will not need to register in SAM.gov or DUNS, which is unusual for these kind of programs, and they are anticipating that that will help more businesses be eligible and be able to get this fund. They're also saying that PPP loans will be subtracted from the applicant's funding calculation that we already were aware of. Something else I'm not sure if we were completely aware of is that the restaurant revitalization applicant cannot have a shuttered venue grant. They're going to have to at least be somewhat operational, and they won't be able to get both of those. They can get a PPP loan and a restaurant revitalization fund, but they can't get both the shuttered venue grant and the restaurant revitalization fund.
Any hints on when this is going to hit?
We've heard different things. The SBA has kind of been hinting sometime in April, but we are almost, through the first half of April and still nothing yet. So they didn't really even hint too much at it yet.
See, I have the easy job, Katie. I get to ask the questions. I don't need to know the answer. I get to put you on the spot. So no, we don't know. What else did they address in hot topics?
Yeah, so I've just broken this down into a couple bullet points instead of making this too long here, but The SBA is in the process of updating the Form 159 as they transition to CAFS. They did note that the form in CAFS is a little bit different than the one you're going to find in other places. So you're going to have to basically make them conform to the other forms available. And what they're saying is you're going to need to add the FIRS number and then initial it if you're using the CAFS generated form. And if you're using the OMB generated form, then you're going to have to add the location ID and initial that. That should be fixed as soon as that form is completely updated. I believe it expires pretty soon, so that as soon as that expires, they're getting that fixed. They also want to remain... Oh, you have a question?
No, go ahead, finish.
Okay. They wanted to remind everyone that 90% guarantee continues to be available until September 30th. That's just trying to push the 7A program a little bit more, and it is a great opportunity right now. IVES will continue to accept the IRS form 4506T through April 30th. They're switching to the C form, so just be aware that's going to be switching soon. And then they've released, this is older guidance, but they have released guidance on establishing maturities of new 7A loans based on that 90% guarantee and things like that. That's older guidance, and I believe everybody should be pretty much aware of that. And then, of course, they've extended pandemic underwriting guidance through the end of the year.
My takeaway on your next slide, Katie, is we don't need to go through all this because it's going to be over. Some people, your eyes are going to glaze over. Look, choose someone at your institution to become an expert on this stuff. Choose a geek, choose a data nerd, choose someone who has a passion for this. SBA is constantly changing the algorithm, and I think there's a wealth of information there, and choose someone to go through that, whether it's your CFO. It doesn't make any difference who it is, but someone who understands all these numbers. Benchmarks have been updated, forecasted purchase rates, and what SBA does is they take a look at your portfolio and they assume there are going to be losses, and they project the losses out. And that's all in there, and it's very good. And as a manager, you should know the components of your Paris score. I don't think you need to have the expertise to go through and do that, but you need to pick someone to do that. How much time did they spend on this, Katie?
There was a unit dedicated to it. It wasn't super long, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes long there, but it is just something to be aware of, that these things are being adjusted. They said it shouldn't have too much of an effect on most lenders, but it's good to be aware of the situation.
Yeah, and as I said, Lance and I and Katie are just fully, the data's there. They're disclosing it, understand it, and it helps you manage your portfolio, and it helps you defend your portfolio as well. Cheddar, I noticed you don't have any notes on Cheddar Venue. What's going on with that?
Yeah, they didn't address that one yesterday. As far as I'm aware, they haven't released any update on when that's going to be reopened. As everybody knows, it was open for about 4 hours there last Thursday, and now it's they've been having issues with technology issues, and also they want to update it and make sure it's prepared just in case there's fraud and things like that. But we don't know when that's going to be reopened, and hopefully that's soon, but the SBA is working on that.
Katie, if I'm a lender and I have a borrower in this situation, what do I do? Just advise them to go to the website and check it every day? Is that the best way to do it?
The SBA did say they were going to provide a little upfront notice before they release that, but the website for it at sba.gov, you can go ahead and sign up for email updates specifically for that program. I would advise most of the borrowers, most of your clients, if they are wanting this program, if they think it's going to work for them, go ahead and sign up for those emails. You can go ahead and get all your documents together and prepare. As soon as the SBA does reopen that, then they'll be ready to go ahead and apply.
Real quick, you all please take advantage of our franchise reports, well over 100 pages, great analysis on that. Joseph, give them the upcoming webinar list. We've set this. We're going to do calculated SBA global cash flow, and we're going to talk exactly on how to do with the pandemic and how to address that in your credit memos. We're going to do dust off the annual gas station C-store. I love doing these industry reports. And then Lance is going to talk about how to document equity injection, and then we're on track with that. A couple items real quick. Russell says the recessions he has experienced, 1975, 1980, 1990, 2001, 2008, and 2020. Yes, Russell, I'm right with you on that. So the one constant is change is coming in. Yeah. Bill wants to know, when is SBA expected to release the updated 504 finance guides? We don't know. Is the opportunity to include payoff of 7A loans likely to be only for 2021 or continue as a permanent change? We don't know. My guess is it's a temporary program, but that's just my personal opinion, and I'm guessing on that. Katie, excellent job.
Haven't seen the info on that one yet, so your guess is as good as mine.
Excellent job. By the way, I noticed some people logged on a little bit late. We'd like to start on time and end on time. Of course, I'm 2 minutes over. But we do have a link. We record all of these shows if you want to go back and catch what we did at the beginning. It's on our YouTube channel. And Joseph, you can send an email to Michael or Joseph for tomorrow. Let's give them the link. I know it's some sort of YouTube channel.
If you just search it, it'll come up. I think we're pretty much
Coleman
the only
report.
Coleman report out there.
Very good. Hey, thank you all for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur who employs people at a time.
Have a great day.